ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ದೃಷ್ಟಿಗ್ರಾಮ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಶಾಲೆ, ಕಲೆ ಮತ್ತು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಶಾಲೆ, ವೀರಭದ್ರಯ್ಯ ದೇಮಯ್ಯ ಗೋಪನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಇವರಿಂದ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಾತ್ಮಕ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಪಾಠ ಪ್ರವಚನಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಭಾಷೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು. ಗ್ರಾಮಾಂತರ ಅಭ್ಯರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಬನ್ನಿ. Well friends, I am welcoming you to my Vvsma Academy, a school of arts and science. Dear students, please follow up your studies with the following disciplines. Fresh up early in the morning with a great prayer, attend schools and colleges and the libraries so that you can learn many things from your science and technology. Well friends, this is Vvsma Demaya. Let us plunge into the field of spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is an advanced science and technology. I would like to give a brief introduction to the spectroscopy. What is spectroscopy? See, spectroscopy is a fascinating field that allows us to delve into the properties, functions, and applications of light. You know that light is a form of energy, generally solar energy, sun's energy. The properties, functions, and applications of solar energy in our day-to-day life in science and technology leads to the spectroscopy. We explore the electromagnetic spectrum with light bulbs. When introducing the study of the light in chemistry, we often demonstrate the qualitative aspects of electromagnetic spectrum. For instance, using diffraction gratings to visually show the color spectrum of white light can be fun and engaging for students. However, why not take it a step further and make this exercise qualitative and quantitative? With a Go Direct Spectro, students can delve deeper into the science behind light diffraction and investigate the numerical aspects of visual phenomena. Here's how you can set up this experiment. Materials needed: Go Direct Spectra visuals and various light bulbs such as incandescent, fluorescent, LED. Do you know, my dear friends, the abbreviation stands for LEDs, light emitting diode. LabQuest interface or Vernier spectral analysis, VSA. Vernier spectrophotometer using optical fibers. The spectrometer Quest interface via USB, Bluetooth, etc. Well, USB. What is the abbreviation stands for? USB. Universal Serial Bus is an industry standard that allows data exchange and delivery of power between many various types of electronics. Electronics gadgets, you can say. Compare and analyze the results with your students. Discuss the evolution of chemicals used in commercial light bulbs over time, from mercury to incandescent to LED. Connect it to the biological concepts like chlorophyll and grow lamps. Flame tests involve observing the colors produced when certain elements are heated in flame. Now, I would like to divert your attention towards the extraordinary and the sophisticated instruments in spectroscopy: absorption spectroscopy and emission spectroscopy. Well friends, this is absorption spectroscopy that involves techniques that measure the absorption of electromagnetic radiation as a function of frequency or wavelength Due to its interaction with sample, the sample absorbs energy, photons from the radiating field. The intensity of absorption varies as function of frequency, and this variation is absorption spectrum. Well, absorption spectroscopy is performed across the electromagnetic spectrum. It is employed as an analytical tool, an analytical chemistry tool to determine the presence of particular substance in a sample. In many cases, to quantify the amount of substance present. Infrared and ultraviolet visible spectroscopy are particularly common in analytical applications. This is the sophisticated instrumentation technology used in analytical laboratory, especially in our department, Geological Survey of India, Chemical Division. I have been experienced so many instruments like atomic absorption spectrometer, ICP-MS, and Vvsma spectrograph and other so many instruments. Well, atomic absorption spectroscopy, AAS. Analytical chemistry, the technique is used for determining the concentration of particular element. It is used as an analytical technique. What is emission spectrum? The emission spectrum of an element is a unique pattern of light obtained when the element is subjected to heat or electricity. The emission spectrum of a chemical element is the spectrum of frequencies of electromagnetic radiation emitted due to electrons making transition from high energy state to the low energy state. Therefore, spectroscopy can be used to identify elements in matter of unknown composition. Similarly, the emission spectra of molecules can be used in chemical analysis. Well, this is another, as I told you, the Aas Aes mass spectrograph is an intriguing scientific instrument used with the help of carbon rods, preparing for the carbon rods, and the samples is loaded in the carbon tubes, vials you can say, and which is subjected to the instrument is primarily used for atomic emission spectroscopy, and the Aas mass spectrograph is a good old instrument now. The parts are not available and it is very difficult to maintenance, is very costly, therefore it is banned as far as today's analysis is concerned. So this is another variant instrument, atomic absorption spectrophotometer, what we are used, and the solution is prepared for that, and we are feeding to the solution in this instrument. Atomic emission spectroscopy, AES, is another type of sophisticated instrument, which is the emission spectroscopy, that is AES. Next, coming to the inductively coupled plasma atomic emission, which is the highly sophisticated and recent instrumentation technology, a flame during assessment of calcium ions in a flame photometer. The sample of material analyzed is brought into the flame as a gas sprayed solution, directly inserted into the flame by using a small loop of wire, usually platinum. So therefore the thermal energy also excites the atoms into excited electronic states that subsequently emit light when they return to the ground state. Ground electronic state, this atom excites from ground state to excited state. The difference between the two states can be measured with the help of sophisticated instrumentation technology using data station. So what is the difference between atomic absorption spectroscopy and the atomic emission spectroscopy? Well, friends, let us have a brief discussion about the difference between those two sophisticated instrument technologies. For example, atomic absorption spectroscopy, AAS, the abbreviation stands for AAS, is atomic absorption spectroscopy, and AES is atomic emission spectroscopy. Both analytical techniques used to determine the concentration of elements in elements. So AES, the sample is excited by atomic air absorption spectroscopy. We'll discuss those things later in the forthcoming classes. Thank you for listening, my dear friends.